Hey, welcome to the Alumni Spotlight conversation. I'm Jeff D'Amelia, a double jumbo NCS, and today I'm going to be talking to Yuki Zaninovich. Yuki, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
So let's start. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your time at Tufts?
Sure. So I graduated from 6 years ago in 2018 with a degree in computer science. I initially came to Tufts thinking I would be an economics major, but I took an introduction to computer science class, Comp 11, and through that class and discovering the computer science department in the community, I decided to do a degree in computer science full time. In terms of extracurriculars, I dabbled in a bunch of different stuff. I did frisbee, crew team, Tufts Daily, but what really ended up sticking for me was the computer science related ones. So I was a teaching assistant for the algorithms class, and I was also the president of Jumbo Code.
Cool. Can you tell me a little bit more about Jumbo Code? What motivated you to get involved and become president of that organization?
Sure. So Jumbo Code is a nonprofit consulting club. We basically have students pair with nonprofits and have them work in an industry-like environment and work on tech solutions for these nonprofits. There's really two pillars of this club that I learned about and is something I'm really passionate about. One is the impact that we can have on the local community. This community service tenet is a really big part of Tufts' mission, and I love how this club is able to fully embrace that with something that students are really passionate about, technology. And the other part is the ability for students to make this impact while also getting industry experience. And I find that part really important because Tufts liberal arts education is great, and we get to really understand problem solving and be able to apply that in a bunch of different domains. But in terms of being able to actually apply that and get like software engineering skills, students rely on extracurricular activities for that. So being able to get that experience while also doing really good things for the local community, I think is really powerful. So those are things that really drew me to it, and I worked to become president.
So Yuki, I know you were heavily involved in the establishment of Code for Good. Can you talk a little bit about Code for Good and how your Jumbo Code experience drove the vision for that program?
Sure. So Code for Good is a program where we're similarly pairing students with organizations in need. I organized this with a fellow Jumbo Code alum, actually, Caroline Kaufman. We both noticed that there are a lot of students who've been affected by the global pandemic situation. A lot of companies don't have the bandwidth to take on interns anymore, and a lot of Tufts students seem to be losing that opportunity to get industry experience. So we thought it'd be great if those students could regain that industry experience as much as possible while also doing good for organizations who really need it in these trying times. So like I said, it's very similar to Jumbo Code, but I think a really big distinction is that for Jumbo Code, this is an extracurricular activity, really extra in the sense that it's an activity that students do outside of their normal academic work, any other jobs that they're doing. Whereas in this case, this becomes a very central activity for them. They're working 20 hours a week because this is in place of some internship they had over the summer instead. So we really wanted to double down on one of the tenets I talked about earlier of gaining industry experience as close to working at actual companies. So one thing we did to adjust was instead of pairing them with a mentor that's a student with industry experience, like in Jumbo Code, we're pairing them with alumni who have industry experience, who probably know what an internship program is more like and can give more targeted feedback and guidance throughout the program.
So I know there are a lot of students who are impacted who really appreciate all the effort you put in and are really grateful to have the opportunity over the summer. So thanks for all that work. Before I let you go, I just wanted to ask one other question. So you were heavily involved in a lot of extracurriculars that you talked about when you were at Tufts. How do you think some of those affected your role in industry and what you do today?
Yeah, so I guess to give a bit of context, I work at Amazon on the Alexa Privacy Experiences team. We work on Alexa features to give more transparency and control to customers around their data. So one example is we have a feature called Alexa, why did you do that? And Alexa will then respond by telling you its rationale for its previous action. And that's to give more context on why Alexa does certain things and empower customers to understand Alexa a bit more. So this is the team that I joined as soon as I graduated. And since then, I think the themes that sort of defined my undergrad experience have persisted. So I realized that in my undergrad, through leading these projects and these programs, that I really appreciate sort of the project management aspect much more than the nitty-gritty code implementation. So on my team, I'm a software engineer, but I tend to take on more responsibilities where it involves talking to other teams, defining technical requirements. I'm still doing a lot of code, and that's my main role, but I think I'm biasing more towards taking ownership of like the product. Thanks to my experiences in Jumbo Code, being a TA, I really enjoy just obsessing about like how do I make this work? How do I make it so customers actually enjoy this? And what are the things to block myself to accomplish this? So a lot of my toughest experience was around this delivery and management. So I'm really grateful for the liberal arts education and the extracurriculars I've worked on that made me realize that this is more of my passion than the actual like code implementation.
Great. Well, I think we're probably out of time, so I want to take this opportunity to thank you for sitting down and talking to me today, Yuki.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate the time too.